Hi, this is Carmelle in Carmelle's World, and I'm back. I'm coming to you on a very, very early Wednesday morning for Inspirational Wednesday. And the topic of conversation for today installment is love and the many facets that come with it. I have my trusty Dusty as part of the use, and even though this is not going to be a part of the Headscarf Chronicles installments, I ain't finished with that yet, just so y'all know. I'm still got my trusty Dusty, my blankie, my little blankie. So what we're going to talk about is love. And, I've touched on this a little bit in the past with love and relationships and disabilities. But today we're going to touch on just different forms of love. We have love of self, being in love with a person who isn't disabled. How does it work, or does it? Love of and from family, and not just sympathy. Because sometimes you can get love from your family members if you are newly disabled, or if you, may be born with disabilities and or limitations. And you'll have people that will act like they're giving you empathy, but in reality they're giving you sympathy because they just feel sorry for you because you can't do what they can do, or they look at you as being the disability and not the person. Okay, now, self-love definition: having a high regard for your own well-being and happiness. Self-love means taking care of your own needs and not sacrificing your well-being to please others. Now, some people might look at that as being selfish, but there's a difference between being selfish and having self-love. Because when you're selfish, you don't care about the next person at all. You feel as though the next person is just like, their needs, their wants, their position in the scheme of your life is just not important any longer, and it's all about you and what you want and how you want. Now, with self-love, yes, you do care about your own personal needs. You do care about what you want and how you want what you want, and you go after what you want to make yourself and to please yourself, to make yourself happy. But you don't forget about the next person. So see, you don't stop caring about the next person and their needs and their feelings and just their position in the scheme of life. So there is a distinct difference, people. Sometimes it's difficult to love oneself when disabled, only because you may not even accept the new you, newly disabled, or the disability within itself. It takes a lot sometimes to deal with just the disability itself, but to have to deal with relearning how to love yourself and go through a period of acceptance at the same time is a lot to deal with all at once. What that means, I'm pretty sure it's self-explanatory, but for the people who may not understand what it is and what it means, basically, I will give myself an example. I've been going through disabilities or disabling conditions for the last, I would say, probably 7, 8 years before it got to the point to where I needed both my hips replaced. Now, that can be disabling, but I don't let it limit me any longer, because it was in my head that I was just disabled, and I looked at myself as being the disability before the person. Now I look at myself as being the person before the disability, and because of this, it gives me the opportunity to accept the disability for what it is. I have 2 prosthetic hips. Okay. I'm walking with a cane at the moment. Sometimes I need it, sometimes I don't. It depends on the circumstance. It depends on what I'm doing at the time. And, you know, it's been kind of a hard pill to swallow. I'm 2 years in with this, and it's been kind of a hard pill to swallow, I have to admit to myself, as well as be honest with you guys. But at the same time, I've looked at it as now at this point, because of a former relationship that I was in, that individual helped me to see that I was much better than my disability, and that the only limitations that I really had was the ones that was inside of here. So, when I realized that I was disabling myself, it took me to a whole nother level of understanding of what self-love was, because now I can love me wholeheartedly, like wholeheartedly. And I'm grateful for that. That person showed me unconditional love at first, and in such allowing me to start loving me more, because I already love me, but my disability was kind of hindering me from loving me all the way. And thanks to this individual, I was able to love me fully. And I'm grateful for that once again. An example of self-love: when you have a positive view of yourself and are confident in yourself and your place in the world. Self-love involves the ability to treat ourselves with understanding, kindness, patience, gentleness, and perseverance. It's only when we love ourselves that we can truly love others. I never understood that. My sister pointed that out to me decades ago. How can you love other people and not love yourself? And this was before my disabilities even was a disability. I was relatively what you would call normal. And I was brought up in, a mindset of servitude, where everybody else's feelings mattered. And I based how I felt about me on others' acceptance of me. And I was never really taught self-love. I didn't know what it was. I always thought that self-love meant if somebody else cared about me, then I was loved. And that was me loving me because they loved me, which is very backwards and wrong. But, it took me decades to learn self-love. And then when I became, with the disability, it was like, wow, the light bulb just kind of flickered in the lighthouse. I just was learning how to love me. Now how am I going to love me? Because I'm not all me anymore. I've got two things that don't even belong in me. How am I going to do this? And I was able to stop looking at me as disabled and start enabling me to be me. Just me with two prosthetic hips. Me, I'm a little different, but I'm not completely different. I'm no longer limiting myself to the disability or identifying myself as just a disability. And I started loving me again the way I was supposed to. And in doing so, I opened my heart and I started loving others the way I was always supposed to do. And it was a beautiful feeling. It really was. Question number 1. Why is self-love so important? It means accepting your emotions for what they are and putting your physical, emotional, and mental well-being first. Self-love helps you to make healthy choices in life. They really do, because if you don't love yourself and you base your self-love on the acceptance of others, you will accept what other people really think and feel about you, and you will think that you are no bigger and no better than what they have said or the level that they have set you at. When you hold yourself in high esteem, you're more likely to choose things that nurture your well-being and serve you well. Self-love pushes you to take care of your own needs. It really, really, really does. You learn to give to yourself, and in doing so, you will develop into the person that you strive to be. Because loving you and loving yourself, you will do things to nurture your needs and what you want and how you want and why you want what you want. And when you do these things, you set the bar and the tone for how others will treat you and what you will and won't accept from others. And you set your own bar, you know. And you will develop self. You will go for things to nurture who you are and what you want and how where you see yourself at in life. And when you get to that point, when you get to that level where you start nurturing your own needs, your own wants, you would develop into your highest self. You know, people don't let anybody limit who you are by their expectation level or their acceptance level of who they think that you are. And they're basing who you are at their level. And a lot of times people do this because they want to feel higher than you, because maybe who you are scares them. And what you can be, they're afraid of it. Because if you change and become your highest self, that will make them or force them to become better and their highest self. And they're just not ready for that type of change. So they continue to be their lowest self to keep, and they keep you in the idea of what they want you to be in this little itty bitty box lower than them. Trust me, I was in a box for a long time. People had set the box and set the standard of who I was much lower than who I really was. And I was able to surpass the idealisms of others and raise the bar of my own expectation level to the extreme where I had people that really looked at me and were really jealous of who they thought I was. Not who I actually was, but who they thought I was because of hearsay and other people's, oh, you know, Carmelle is this, that, and this, that, and the third, and she acts like this, that, and this, that, and the third, and she thinks she's better than people, and she thinks she's this, and she thinks she's that. It's not that I think I'm better than anybody. It's just that the standard and my bar is high. That's it. You know, and I live by that principle. I was brought up with understandings of just the way life is and the way you should look at things, goal orientation and things of that nature. So why wouldn't I think of myself in high regard? But when you think of yourself in low regard and then you see somebody who thinks of themselves in a high regard, you think that they're stuck on themselves. And you're actually not stuck on yourself. You just hold yourself in high regard. You have high self-esteem. And a lot of people who walk around on this planet don't have high self-esteem. They have low self-esteem. And unfortunately for the rest of us, that means that they want to keep us in this little itty bitty box that pacifies who they are, because they don't want us to be who we actually are. Okay, now I wrote 15 steps. It's a little more or less to self-love. Make peace with your insecurities. Acknowledge your lingering insecurities and forgive yourself for having them. You know what you're insecure about. Nobody else may ever know what you're insecure about because it's personal. It's what you know, your insecurities. But forgive yourself for having them, you know, and try to outgrow them. Accept that perfection doesn't exist, and accept your flaws. We all have flaws. Everybody has flaws. Accept them. You know, I have flaws, and Excuse me, I had to look sideways to look at the time. I have flaws. I've now accepted them. You know, I'm not the smallest person on the planet. I'm a big girl. You know, I may never be the smallest person that I want to be because I've always been thick. And and I'm fine with that now. You know, either you're going to love me the way I am or move on. There's billions of people on the planet. Find somebody else to look at. Discover what is important to you and embrace it. Number 2, grow in ways that support what's important to you. Stop comparing yourself to others. That's a very big pet peeve of mine. I can't stand it when somebody constantly, oh yeah, I got such and such just like so and so, or yeah, such and such wears her hair the same way I wear my hair. Yeah, I know I'm cute because I got my makeup on like so and so. No. Be an individual. Don't be a carbon copy of somebody else, because then you'll just blend in with everybody else and no, you won't stand out. Stand out and be your own person. Don't worry about other people's opinions at all. When you look in the mirror, you see you. You do not see somebody else. And if you do see somebody else, either your whole house needs to be blessed or you might need to talk to a professional about it, really. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Once again, nobody's perfect. We're all going to make mistakes at some point in our life. And then learn to laugh at yourself, because you're not perfect. You know, you might make a mistake. So what do? You look at the mistake for what it is and know, you know what, let me try this again. And I know this way doesn't work, so let me try a different way. That's all. I don't believe in the word problem. The problem is really, I don't use it in my vocabulary, because in my vocabulary, problem is merely a situation in need of a solution. So when I call a problem, I don't say problems. I say, okay, we have a situation that's in need of a solution. How are we going to solve this situation? Remember, your value doesn't lie in how your body looks or how others see your body. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Somebody might look at you and go, oh, you need to gain weight because you're a little bit too small. Or they might look at you and go, girl, you need to drop a couple of bodies because you're a little bit, thicker than you used to be. So what? I'm still me. I'm still beautiful. I'm still talented. I'm still, I have a smile that lights up a room. I'm still a funny person. I have a heart of gold. I have so many things that are pluses that whatever minus somebody might see, that's their business. Let them deal with it. Don't be afraid to let go of toxic people. We all have toxic people in our lives that we may need to let go of. No, it's not may. We do need to let go of. Toxic people that are in your life that serve no purpose. All they do is pick and talk about you in sidebar conversations, that third person vernacular. That's all they do. They're not really good for you. They constantly judge you. They hold you in judgment all the time. They say nothing positive when it comes to you, even when they're reflecting to you to others. They have nothing nice to say. They're toxic. Let them go. Let them go be somebody else's headache or problem. Okay? Trust yourself to make good decisions for yourself. You know you better than anybody on the planet, or at least you should. Or you should be in a learning process as we speak. So, with that being said, believe in yourself that you can make good decisions for you. And sometimes if you can't, go to somebody that you trust, that you know has your interests at heart and loves you, and ask them, you know, I wanted to do X, Y, and Z. Do you think that's a good decision on my behalf? And they'll give you their honest opinion. And you know they hold you in high regard, so they know that what they're saying means something, and you know what they say means something. Feel pain and joy as fully as you can. Don't put limitations on your feelings. Sometimes, well, most of the time, people want to feel joy, but they don't want to embrace pain. And you have to learn to process the pain. You have to learn to sit down in the midst of your pain, feel it, own it. It's your pain. And then realize you don't have to sit there and have your pity party for a year. You don't even have to sit there and have your pity party for 24 hours. You can sit there, you process the pain, you take it, you absorb it. You know, I'm hurting right now, but you know how they say joy comes in the morning? Somewhere in the world it's raining, but there's also somewhere in the world where the sun is shining. And you get up out of your pity party, you step up out of that pain, and you go embrace life and embrace the joy once again. Be kind to yourself, because if you don't, trust me, ain't nobody else going to. But you show people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. Exercise boldness in public. What I mean by that is don't be scared to speak up for yourself in public. So a lot of times people will get in public and they won't talk for themselves. They kind of let people just get over on them, so to speak. No. Speak your mind. Speak and let the rest follow. Stand in your truth. Own your truth. Walk boldly and fearlessly. There we go. In your truth. Now, the next question. Can you be in love with somebody as a disabled person that's not disabled? The answer is yes. You can. There's nothing wrong with that. You can embrace a person who doesn't have disabilities, and they can love you just the same because they're not looking at your limitation or your disability. They're looking at who you are as a person. The beautiful brown or black hair or blonde hair or blue or gold or green or whatever color hair you have. They're looking at your beautiful eye color. They're looking at your cheeks. They're looking at the way that you wear your clothing. They're looking at and they're smelling the perfume that you're wearing. They're looking at your Holy Ghost boldness. They're looking at how you interact with them, how you speak, how you conduct yourself as a person. They're looking at all the positives in you. So, they're not really focused on, well, how long have you been disabled? Well, what limitations do you have with your disability? Because trust me, the conversations come up. Please notice, the conversations do come up. But it doesn't have to be the only conversation to come up. They don't have to, stick with that disability conversation and run with that for the rest of the night, rest of the afternoon, rest of the morning. No, I'm a person. So I want to talk about me. I want to talk about what I like, what I don't like, where I like to go, what I like to do, and, things of that nature. And, let the rest follow. Is sympathy a form of love? Getting back to the, I'm chewing gum, y'all forgive me, but when I'm nervous, I chew gum. Love of and from family and not sympathy. Is sympathy a form of love? It's a feeling of pity or sorrow for the suffering or distress on another. Compassion. Now, you can get love from your family and understanding. You'll have some family members that will look at you and think she's powerful in her own right. She's doing a doggone thing. She is working her disability instead of allowing her disability to downgrade and limit her. And then you'll have those family members that are misinformed and they just basically feel sorry for you. And they think they're giving you empathy when in actuality they're giving you sympathy. Nobody wants sympathy. Now, maybe when we're sitting there in our pity mess, we may want the sympathy because we're feeling sorry for ourselves. But, honeys, I'm telling you, don't let that last long. Please, don't give them sympathy. Empathy. Empathize with them. You know, try to understand the condition. Try to understand whatever they can and cannot do. But please, please, above all, do not sympathize. Do not give a disabled person a whole bucket full of sympathy and think that you're doing a good thing. Oh, well, you know, do you need to do this? Do you need me to do that? Oh, I don't want you to hurt yourself. Oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that. If we ask, and I say we because my hips puts me in a disability category, but honestly speaking, I know what my limitations are and what they aren't, and the majority of the stuff I can do. I have a couple of few things I can't do, but honestly speaking, if I wasn't already running a marathon, I ain't gonna start. I wouldn't start no way. If I wasn't swimming the English Channel before these hips, I'm definitely not thinking about it now. I wasn't climbing Mount Everest before I got these hips, and I'm definitely not thinking about doing it now. I wasn't hiking and doing all that other stuff, you know, bike riding and all that stuff that, you know, the normal folk can do. I wasn't doing that before. But guess what? I can ride a bike. I can. And if I take my time, I can do a little bit of hiking. Now, am I going to hike up a mountain? Absolutely, positively, unequivocally not. I wasn't doing it before. It didn't come to my mind before. Trust me, I ain't trying to do it now. I can get in the exercise class, and so long as I take my time and I'm not trying to kill myself, you know, with I can exercise like the next person. I just gotta take my time with it. And yes, it does hurt because my hips aren't actually mine. You know, they're held to my pelvic bone with screws, and my bone is still growing around the piece that's to the lower part of the hip joint itself. It's a long, just Google it on how they do put the prosthetic hip into the body. But there's little things I can't do, you know, because of the pain aspect. But for the majority of the stuff I can do. But me having two prosthetic hips does put me in a disabled category, so that's why I say we. It is almost impossible not to first look at a person with a disability and go, oh my goodness, what happened? And this is what you wonder in your head. Now, I have a cane, so when people look at me, they automatically go, oh my goodness, I wonder what happened. You know, my hair is a little gray, but if I have a hat on, and I don't look my age, people are going to look at me like, and I've actually had people question me in Walmarts and in different places. So I'm just saying from, you know, actual, you know, experience. You look mighty young to have a cane. Or they assume because I'm a big person, I'm a big girl, that it's my weight is the reason why I have the cane and not actually a disability that I have that's got me with the cane. So they misconstrue and understand it. So when they see me in Walmart and I'm in that little cart, they look at my size and they assume, oh, she big. That's why she got the cane. Oh, she lazy and big. That's why she in the push cart. She in the cart buggy. In actuality, that's not the case at all. I had to actually check somebody in my Walmart in Hagerstown one time for believing that the only reason why I was in the cart was because They thought I was just big and I was just not wanting to walk. And that's why, I had the cane, and they were talking under their breath to their husband about what they thought I was and what they thought the reason why I was in the push cart thing, the little buggy. And I had to turn around and had to check them and correct them. And I most certainly did. And they didn't appreciate it. And I didn't give a damn. But I did check them. So, you know, people will misunderstand and they will give you sympathy. And I don't want sympathy. And I know it's hundreds of thousands of disabled people that feel the same way that I feel, that may even be in bed or be in a wheelchair and may have been born with their condition and don't want sympathy. Please don't give us sympathy. Try to understand the condition, but don't sympathize. Oh my goodness, they can't. I'm so glad. And I mean, people will really look at the person that's disabled and go, I'm so glad that's not me. They will actually be happy that they're not the person. And I'm like, in my head, I'm looking at them look at me with that thought process. And I'm like, but you are 3 seconds from maybe falling and breaking something and getting on this cane and getting in this buggy or getting in the wheelchair. So you ain't too far from something happening to you. So don't count your chickens before you get to the farm, so to speak. And with that being said, let me see. We have 7 different faces of love. We have eros, passionate love. Automatic imagery of an intense whirlwind romance, as an example. Philia, goodwill. Relationship is built by companionship, dependability, and trust. Storge, familiar love. Natural or instinctual affection, example, parent to child or vice versa. Agape love, one of my favorites. Universal love, the fatherly love of God for humans, as well as humans reciprocating for the love of God to them. Pragma, practical love, founded on reason of duty and one's longer term interests. Now, I'm about to butcher this word, but y'all, just please overlook it. It's Philautia, Philautia, self-love, to love oneself or regard for one's own happiness or advantage. And that's the one that I'm focused on, the one I can't pronounce. And that type of love is a selfish love to a certain degree. The kind of love that takes and does not give back in return. This is someone who only uses others to excel in life. Think about the social climbers of the world. So that love can be used in a way where, yes, I'm thinking about myself. I'm sometimes they say self-absorbed or selfish, because when you're thinking about the larger scheme of things, it's like, I'm thinking about me. I'm putting my needs before others. Now, if I had children, that'd be something different. I have kids, but my kids are grown, and I still think of them and I still love them unconditionally, and I have love for them. But because they're grown and they have their own families and they've moved on from needing mommy to mother, well, except for one, I am starting to use the Philautia love, and I'm starting to learn how to have the selfish love. I always was raised that I'm supposed to love others before myself. Now I love me. and then I love others. Because in loving me, I can truly love somebody else. And I didn't understand the concept of that, like I said earlier. But now I do. I really, really do. Thanks, babe. He knows who he is if he's watching this. With that being said, I'm going to end my rant. It is now 35 minutes in. I've gone over by 15 minutes. And I just want to say thank you for looking at my video. Comment, put down in the comments, please. I like to interact. So talk to me, give me ideas, let me know what you might want to hear me expound on. I thank you guys for, my A1 day ones who look religiously at my little videos. I may only give 1, 2, 3, maybe 7 to 8 views at first. And I'm loving you, my soul tribe. Like and share, subscribe. Become part of the Soul Tribe, Carmelle's Kingdom. I would love to have you. We are peace-loving people, and we love information. We love to give information. We love to get information. I also thank you because you could have looked at the video before mine, or you could have looked at the video underneath mine, and you decide to look at my video. And for that, I'm truly blessed. I'm going to come back with another one soon. I'm going to start moving into exercising, the kitchen, making smoothies, things of that nature, and fashion tips. I already started with makeup and motivation. I think that's what it was. So, y'all just got to work with me here, please. Have a little patience with your girl. And, I'm going to start pushing them out. I'm trying to push them out now for you guys. And I'm trying to be informative and, trying to be, there for you. And, just thinking of things that I might want to know more about as far as, the disabled community, and even the community that's not disabled, because I know I have some people that look at these videos that's not disabled, and I'm grateful for that, because you might find out something about us that will make you love us even more, and maybe even free up the fear of, well, I really don't know if I want to get involved with a person with disabilities. By all means, please get involved. We are some of the funnest people on the planet. We learn to laugh at ourselves first, so therefore we can take a joke. Okay, so you're missing out if you don't give us a chance. Trust me, we're loving, we're fun, we are active. We just aren't active the way you would think that a person would be active. But I mean, outside of the, the little disability or large, we are active people. And we have a lot of love to give. We have a lot of brain power to give. And, we just have a lot to give if you just give us half a chance. So for the ones who are watching that aren't disabled, thank you. I greatly appreciate that. For the ones that are watching that do have a disability, what's up, my peeps? What's up, girl? What's up, guy? How it's going? How it's shaking? And with that being said, I'm going to end my video. This is Carmelle's World. I'm out.